In Phil Alexander's essay, The Composing Practices and Rhetorical Acumen of MMORPG Players, he quotes Elizabeth Thibault's definition of literacy that states, "Literacy is no longer just the ability to read and write, but the ability to grasp intellectually and then link concepts, to turn data into information and information into knowledge that can be communicated in a variety of textual forms." Growing up, my access to video games was predominantly limited to arcade rooms and pizza parlors, playing against the internal computer and the high scores from the players that came before, and getting pointers and tips from whoever happened to be in the room at the same time. I was developing what Stuart Selber defines as functional computer literacy, through which I could effectively use the machine to accomplish the goal of progressing through the game. At these times, I was also operating in an analog version of James Paul Guy's Affinity Space, which constituted the arcade room itself. Since then, the gaming world has exploded into a fully immersive online community, and thus, the definitions of computer literacies had to be expanded to include online gaming literacy, which Phil Alexander categorizes into mechanical literacy, which is similar to Selber's functional literacy, character literacy, and social interaction literacy. Alexander's demarcation of online gaming literacy has helped me contextualize my fiancé's devotion to the mobile strategic role-playing game Fantasy War Tactics, about which I would like to conduct a brief case study here. The game itself is very simple. You move along a map with each stopping point representing a battle, and the terrain of each battle is set out as a grid, and each hero on your team has a specific range of movement and attacks, which can be enhanced with equipment and skill modifications. Beyond the main storyline, there are player versus player battles, and guilds which engage in daily battles. Finally, there is a chat server within the game that hosts multiple channels, one of which is guild-specific. And there are other external game paratexts, including a fan wiki with graphics and textual information, a Reddit with strategy and hero guides, and a whole host of YouTube walkthroughs. All of these multimodal literacies, derived from the information provided by the game, are manifestations of Thibault's expansions of the definition of literacy. Fairly often, when my fiancé is playing the game, he'll look up and ask me how to spell a word. I finally asked him why, and he said that he was in the game chat. I asked him why it mattered if he spelled things correctly, and he told me that he didn't want to look dumb. I realized then that he was actually working on his writing skills while he was playing the game. Not only had he developed his mechanical literacy in the game, he was expanding his vocabulary and improving his spelling, since the game didn't have spell check. He had also developed a thorough grounding in character literacy, and worked to help the so-called noobs match the best equipment with the right heroes to improve their chances in battle. Finally, through his daily participation with the guild and his acquisition of the vernacular of the chat spaces, he was working towards social interaction literacy within the group of players. I realized that beyond simply looking dumb, like he'd said, the reason he worked so hard on his grammar and spelling in the chats was in order to maintain his ethos as an avid and competent player. All of the forms of online gaming literacy outlined by Alexander reinforce this ethos, and while in Fantasy War Tactics you aren't able to design your own character, you do have a player handle, and that is the identity that you develop through the paratext of the game. I realize how important that identity is to him, and from now on, I will always help him with his spelling, no questions asked, so his ethos will remain intact.